Hello and welcome to Newcastle's Broadmeadow Racetrack. Over the years, a number of well-performed horses have been trained here, the likes of Stratum, Fastnet Rock, Samantha Miss, just to name a few. But in 1977, the Max Lees trained Luskin Star blitzed his opposition to run away to win the Golden Slipper Stakes, ridden by his regular jockey, John Wade, on that occasion. I caught up with John this week to ask him about his career and the wonderful association he had with such a super colt. John Wade, thanks for spending some time with us.
Good morning, Steve.
Thank you very much. John, if I could go back to your riding record, it's pretty phenomenal. I mean, you were 5 times Newcastle Apprentice Premiership winner. You were 6 times Newcastle Jockey Premiership winner, 66 Provincial and Country Cups, and on 3 occasions you rode more than 5 winners in a day. That's a pretty impressive record.
Just lucky.
I wouldn't say that. John, let's go back to the beginning. I gather that the fact that your father was a jockey, was it a certainty that you were going to follow in his footsteps?
Not really, no. I didn't start doing any riding until we moved to Moree. And we went out in properties, pig hunting on a Saturday and Sunday, Saturday afternoon and Sunday. And that's how I learnt to ride, out in these big 1,000-acre properties, jumping logs and whatever, on ponies, chasing pigs. That's how I learnt to ride.
So can you remember your first race ride?
Yes, it was at Scone. Yeah.
And how did you go?
We didn't do any good the first ride. We continued on, and then we won a double on the day. Bronette and can't think of the other one. Bronette was one of them. Yeah.
And after you started your career as a jockey, did you find things easy? Were you a natural at it?
Weight-wise, you mean?
Well, and ability?
Oh, we had a bit of luck, as you need all the time,
yep.
And we just continued on and got a few winners.
Excellent, yeah. Excellent. And how did your association come with Max Lees?
With Max, well, Max was a jockey, and then he got hurt in a race for the Canterbury, broke his arm, and doctor said he shouldn't ride again. And he was a pretty heavy jockey anyhow, and he became trainer. So when he got his trainer's licence, I went and started riding track work for him, and that's how we just got going.
And your first impression of the one of the best he had was Luskin Star. When did you first set eyes on him?
Oh, when he came back from, I didn't see him when he was going through the sales, but when he came back from getting broken in, I started riding him track work. We'd trot and canter around the Cinders track for a couple of weeks, and that's continued on from there.
And did he just give you a natural feel that he had plenty of ability?
Well, he was always a very sensible and very quick on his feet horse. He did throw me a couple of times, quite a few times.
Yeah.
But I was lucky enough he didn't get away. And but you never get, when you're trotting and cantering, just to educate, you don't sort of realise how good they are at that particular time.
Yeah, yeah. But you took him to Sydney, you trialled him in Sydney.
That's right.
And then after that he just ran away from them in the Breeders' Plate to win by 12 lengths.
The Breeders' Plate was a surprise when I didn't realise he'd won by that far, and it is further, because I think 12 lengths was the official margin, but I think it was a bit further if you've seen the video.
Yeah.
I never looked round in a race ever, and I didn't know how far I was in front when I got to the furlong. So I just rode him out hands and heels, and the margin was unbelievable.
So you must have thought that we've got something pretty special here.
My word.
You went on then to win the Silver Slipper, and then he was put away until the autumn of 77, where he came back in the Newcastle Northern Slipper on a heavy track, and he wasn't happy there.
No, he wasn't happy there. Max really didn't want to start him, because his first up he had top weight. It was set weights and penalties, I think, that race in that day, and of course he'd won the other 2 races, he had the top weight, and Max really didn't want to start him because it was first up from a spell, and he didn't want to get knocked around, and Mr. Sand beat him.
So you go to the Todman Slipper trial, you win that in Sydney, and then the Slipper comes into view.
Yeah.
On the day, Were you confident going into the race? I mean, it was a pretty hot field. Blazing Saddles was an equal favourite with you on the day.
I was confident of him winning. The only thing I was worried about ever was interference through the race, because he didn't have a lot of speed to be right up close to the lead. He just had to be where he could travel, and in a big field like that, you might get interference in.
You settled in about 9th position, if I remember from the tape. So, and then Blazing Saddles got the better of Mistress Anne, I think, turning for home, and then you just descended on them.
Mm.
And he runs away to win by 7 lengths in race record time.
Yeah. No, it was a very good win. And he didn't get any interference, which was good. So he travelled, but he never travelled through the race. I was always niggling at him to be where he was.
Yep.
And when he turned for home, he just drew another leg.
At the end, you're easing him down.
I don't know about easing him down.
Well, I mean, if had I ridden him out, I mean...
Yeah, well, I rode him, in every race I rode him, I never pulled the stick on him once.
No, that was the point I was actually trying to make. You then go on to win the Sires and the Champagne, the Triple Crown, and then it's the Queensland Sires in June.
That's right, yep.
But it's not long after that campaign that he is bought by Sangster & Co.
That's right, yep.
Was it ever considered that you would stay with the horse when he moved stable?
Oh no, I knew I wouldn't be riding when he went to Bart. I knew I'd be, because I was Newcastle, Bart's in Sydney, I wouldn't be there. Yeah.
Gary Harley, I spoke to him about the horse, regards him as the best 2-year-old he's ever seen.
So, I mean, he was a star from the time Max Lees put the watch on him until his career was over. I first caught a glimpse of him in a barrier trial here. They used to have Sunday barrier trials called the Mater Hospital Fun Day. They get 10,000 people here, but it wasn't only the trials, there was merry-go-rounds and all that stuff. It was a big fundraiser for the local hospital, and they had the trials, and John Wade rode him in the trial, and he went enormous. Everyone watching the trial just said, gee, what horse is that? And then John come back, put a huge wrap on him. He went to the Breeders' Plate and he donkey licked them. I think it was 12 lengths he won the Breeders' Plate, and he just went on from there. Silver Slipper, the Big Three, the Golden Slipper, the Sires, the Champagne. He come back here to a crowd of nearly 20,000 as a 3-year-old to win the Cameron Handicap. Not too many 3-year-olds have won the Cameron Handicap.
A lot of us would have to agree with that, and certainly you would too.
Yeah.
There's not many 2-year-olds that could do what he did.
No.
And unfortunately, he raced in a time when group races weren't recognised as group races. Had the group racing system been in place, he would have won 5 Group 1s in one preparation.
Easy, yeah.
Pretty amazing stat.
The difference in the prize money would have been enormous.
Well, yeah, he ended up with 277,100, which in today's terms probably would have been around 6 million. I don't know. Yeah.
I think the Golden Slipper, when he won it, was worth 75,000 to the winner.
Is that right?
There's a bit of difference.
It is a bit of difference. But he went on then to be a sire at New Haven Park, and they paid a big fee to get him. But his legacy in the breeding barn has led to a sire of broodmares.
He didn't have a lot of success with as far as winners to runners were concerned. Yeah, unfortunately.
Again, it's ironic when we talk about him being passed in at sales. He joins a list of others who have been passed in. Kingston Town was passed in, and of course Takeover Target, who was actually tried as a horse. But all were passed in and turned out to be very, very good horses for a very, very modest price. So it all goes to show that you don't have to pay millions of dollars to get a decent horse these days.
That's right, yeah. No.
So John, after your association with Luskin Star, where did your career go then?
Oh, well, that was 77. After that, we just continued on. We had a lot of winners after that. We had Villiers winner with Top Wing that Max trained. We had a lot of. We went round the carnivals and that with horses. Max took horses everywhere.
Yep.
So it was good.
Fantastic. Yeah. And you tried your hand at training?
I tried my hand at training, which I enjoyed. up until a point. But at that time I'd already had the fall and was out of racing, so I was on a walking stick most of the time, and the horses would pull me around. I had a lot of pain, so that didn't, I had to give that up.
Yep.
Yeah.
So how do you spend your days in retirement now?
Well, I'm not actually retired. I work still.
Okay.
I do still work. Yeah. I work for a pathology company called Infinity, which is a very good pathology company, and keeps me going. Gives me something to do.
Yep.
Yep.
And you still
Really
take an
enjoy
interest in the thoroughbreds?
Oh yeah, I watch them all the time.
Yep.
Again, I have the wireless on the car and listen
Yep.
to them.
Yep.
Always like to listen.
Fantastic.
See who's riding winners.
Fantastic. Well, John, it's been a pleasure to talk to you, and I must go back to your statistics, because one statistic I think you're going to hold for a long time. You and your father rode for the Hintons, father and son, in 1967 at Newcastle, and you both finished first. You finished first and second.
Yeah.
You beat your dad by a nose, so I
Yeah.
don't think that's a record that is going to be beaten very shortly.
No, it won't. I don't think. No, that was very good.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
John Wade, thanks for your time today.
Thank you.